keep doing. Dog gonna just he gonna keep doing it till you just is irritated. I'm like, okay.
I get it.
I've laughed. And he's like, like, I don't even talk like that all the time. Like, stop. Shout out to dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Vibe Controllers Podcast. Merc B, Cocky McFly, Fifth Child, out here.
Hey man. Everybody, y'all okay?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
You low as fuck, my boy.
I know, that's how I feel. This nigga has it out for me.
I don't. I promise
Man,
I don't. I love y'all.
The last few weeks, you been eyeing him.
That's not true.
He be messing with you every other week.
And I'm the one you need lead the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna, as you said, I was gonna text y'all out of the blue randomly yesterday just to tell you that I loved you, and I was like, man, I don't want them to like
slap shit.
See, that's exactly why I didn't.
I would have been
exactly
like,
why I did not.
I would have been like,
because y'all not emotionally
I
intelligent.
would have been.
What's wrong with you?
I would have been like, man, I love you too. You okay? Baby, why you doing this?
Sorry ass shit. What's wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
Hug your son.
Hey, man, look, thank y'all so much for tapping in with us. Welcome to the Vibe Controllers Podcast. We appreciate y'all tapping in. This is episode 43. And not only are we celebrating episode 43, we are celebrating 2 years as a podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 years out here. We still ain't where we need to be. But that ain't the point. 2 years. And we just so happy that y'all
Negative perspective.
tapped in with us and keep on supporting us. We appreciate y'all. Anyway, I go by the name of Cocky McFly. That guy across the table from me is my brother, Merc B. Williams. Merc, say hey to the people.
My friend is here tonight, so I am not Merc B. Williams. I'm Merc B. Lee.
B. Lee.
Merc B. Lee.
Merc B. Lee.
The B, what did B stand for? Barry?
Merc B. Lee. It's just an initial. B.
Also in the building, as always, Fifth Child. Fifth Child, say hey to the people.
Aloha.
Oh, you kept it simple today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disappointed.
Bruh, all these languages out here.
You chose.
So,
I'm running out.
and that ain't even. What
You
is,
chose
what
some
is
stuff
a language?
we've been.
Is that a language? What is
That's
it?
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian is a language?
Damn.
Yeah, right.
What's the
It
other
is.
words they got? Aloha.
Aloha means like 27 different things.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they all are.
Oh, they're rocking my V. Anyway, look, we got our homie in the building.
That's a moment.
I mean, that's what, we got our homie in the building. You all have seen him and known him all over the city of Jackson. And he is the only graduate of the Jackson State University and the University of Colorado at Boulder.
That's true, as far as I know.
Y'all, please give it up for our friend, our brother, Garrad Lee.
Woo.
Garrad, say hey to the people.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me.
I love Garrad. No, Garrad really is, as far as we know, in the city of Jackson, the only graduate of both schools.
He's the only person I know, period.
Yeah,
Period.
Absolutely.
and I'm pretty connected with, both alumni bases, and I've yet to. But I think Shiloh Sanders might end up being that because he got a degree from here, and if he finishes his master's at Colorado, it'll be me and Shiloh. Yeah, which would be cool. Yeah,
He the cool.
I'm gonna try to get some of that NIL money.
That's what we. But yeah, so we're gonna tap in with Garrett, and we are gonna have some wonderful stories about some shit that happened in Colorado, and his not so wonderful, some wonderful stories about Deep Jackson State too. We keep it very PC because we got to make sure you keep it down.
Yeah.
Anyway, y'all stay tapped in. We out here. So Garrett, you have lived 75 lives. If anybody knows you, pretty much every time I see you, there's a new story that I've never heard of. And I'm like, how do I even know you? Like,
Yeah.
So kind of talk about your time before we get to the Jackson State story.
Yeah.
Talk about your time in Colorado. Like, how? And you from Jackson.
Yeah. So, got married in 2005. Everyone knows Catherine, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows Catherine.
For
Yeah.
Catherine from here.
So we got married in June of 2005, and within less than a year, we were ready to move and just go somewhere else, try something different. I was wanting to get back into school because I graduated from college in 2001 the first time, and I think we've even talked about this a little bit on this actual podcast before. It was just like working in restaurants, was traveling around seeing music, just kind of lost and fucked up, you know. But I was like, I want to get back in and like get my career or figure that out, right? So I know I've said this to each one of you individually. Colorado is Atlanta for white people. Colorado is where white people go to find themselves. And Boulder specifically, because Boulder is, I will say this before I say anything else, Boulder is one of the most beautiful cities in this country, and one of the most beautiful campuses in this country. And I always like to start with that. Yeah, so it's just right on the foothills of the Rockies. So you are, you know, no matter where you're at in the city, you're right there at the bottom of the mountains and just have so many avenues up, you know. And then a lot of kids use it as their backup school because you can go there and ski because you're a couple hours from, you know, the big ski resorts and some of the smaller ones. And your student fees get you like 30 or 40 days of lift passes at different ski resorts and shit. Yeah, so yeah, it's wild. But that Boulder and specifically, and Colorado, and we were there before weed got legalized. We were there before even medical got legalized. Yeah. But it's one of the top 5 craft beer cities in the country. Even before weed was legal, it was basically legal, and some of the best grow ops are going on up there. Now, like, mushrooms are legal, and like weed is like straight up legal, you know. So it's a party town, it's a hippie town, but it's also a lot of money. So there's a lot of tech money there. So it's very prep school hippie is what the band Fish calls it. But you know, but it's so beautiful, and it's called the Boulder Bubble because it's a whole different world. Like, it is completely different. Even a lot of, you know, Colorado gets, you know, it's a blue state most of the time, but those red areas in Colorado, like the rural areas, are just as scary as places here in Mississippi and South Carolina and shit, you know. So, but it's, you know, it's just like this whole bubble. Now, all that being said, it's a very liberal town. The college is very liberal. The department I was in, which I'll talk more about as we get there, was very liberal. Like one of the most like radical college departments in the whole country, probably. So first got up there, and like I said, I'm coming out of this like years of just my brain in the clouds, you know. I'll just leave it there. But just years of that, and I went there to initially work on my master's in the religious studies program. So what I was going to do, but here's the kicker. What I wanted to do was like super theoretical, philosophical Mayan cosmology stuff. So looking at like Mayan calendar and all the, you know, cosmology that came out of that is very like psychedelic based or whatever. So I took a one class. Like I said, I've been 4 years or 5 years at that point since I had been in college. So I like met an advisor, took a couple classes. I did take a Western religions class on just, you know, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I did write a 15-page paper on the 5% Nation on my project for Islam, and this white professor is like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, he's like, "How did you research this?" I was like, "Wu-Tang albums?" Yeah, it's like, actually, I already knew all of this. I just kind of typed it up and put some citations on there. But after a side note, what's funny is to do the citations for that is a bunch of just cruddy, I hate to say it this way because I love that shit, but cruddy little folded up books that don't have barcodes on them. That, you know, Melvin Robinson always says read books with barcodes on them. But they're just awesome, like just shitty little books or whatever. But yeah, it's like, you know, you do 5 pages on the white man being the devil and turn it in at University of Colorado Boulder, you know. So I did that, and I took another couple classes, and this one professor there was like, I will advise you, because he worked in repatriation of native artifacts from museums, so getting them back for like First Nations and stuff that have been like held at museums and stuff. So he's like, I really don't know what you're talking about, but I will do this with you. And I took a awesome, I forget the exact name of the class, but it was a Western Native American First Nation class or something I took with him. So anyway, I was doing my application for grad school. wasn't really feeling it because no one there knew what to do with me, you know. So went to a lecture one time. One of the great things about that campus is everything comes there. I mean, the music scene at the Fox Theater and the Boulder Theater and everywhere else, hip hop, and we were, you know, heavy underground hip hop at that time. Everything just comes to us. Like, we saw Wu-Tang at least 6 or 7 times within walking distance from our house, and that was just that. And I have a funny outside of a Wu-Tang story too. So anyway, M1 from Dead Prez comes to do a lecture. And so M1 is, we're in this lecture hall. M1's standing there. Behind him, he's got the new Black Panthers, all in their berets, arms crossed, you know, black on and stuff. And we're so excited because that was, you know, back right at the tail end of me, you know, thinking Dead Prez was cool, you know, because they just kind of, I don't know, they just kind of got weird or whatever. But we saw him play up there a couple of times. It was really good. But anyway, this professor gets up to speak before M1. His name is Raylan Rabaka. And he's shorter. He's probably 5'1" or 2. Has locks down to his ankles. And that night he had him down. And he gets up there and just starts talking to open for M1. And he's a professor of ethnic studies at University of Colorado. So he's talking about just everything you want to hear when you're that age and you're radical. You know, because we were very politically radical and actually involved in movement stuff. You know, so. He starts talking and he's like, you know, he's like, we got to break the chains of oppression. You know, it's all that great shit, right? So I was like, I got to meet this dude. I don't care what he's doing. I want to work with him. So next morning I sent him an email. I was like, yo, saw you open for M1. I would love to meet you. And went over there. He emailed me right back and went to meet him. And he starts giving me printed out articles about critical theory, which is, you know, the philosophy of looking at social issues from a critical standpoint. But the key part to critical theory is to offer solutions to those problems. So it's not just a philosophical construct, it's a philosophical construct with solutions in it as well, right? So he was one of the, like, you know, leading edge of critical race theory. So looking at race through the lens of critical theory or whatever. So he's giving me all these articles and he's telling me about ethnic studies, and they don't have a master's degree and already have an undergrad degree, right? But I left there. I was like, I want to work with this guy, man. Like, this is too cool. So went to admissions and financial aid, and all of my credits from undergrads transferred over. So I just needed to do about 1.5 years of ethnic studies classes and a couple anthropology classes or whatever. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. Me and Catherine both came out of college the first time debt free, and I was like, I'll take on some, because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I want to do with my life. You know what I'm saying? So turns out he is, if not the top, within the top 2 or 3 Du Bois scholars in the entire world. He's written multiple books. Again, we left there 14 years ago, so I met him 17 years ago at this point. So even then, he had multiple books out. He was writing books on hip-hop studies, hip-hop history. He was writing books on, like, Emile Cabral and Frantz Fanon and all these kind of people. So we're talking deep critical theory when it comes to race and gender and, you know, stuff like that. So without even looking at the course catalog or whatever, I was like, I'm going to do this, you know. So for that next 1.5 years, I essentially became his right-hand man. Like, we did everything together, and he took me under his wing. I would burn CDs for him for research on books, you know, that he was doing about hip-hop, and, you know, just hanging out all the time. And so ended up in that department. His classes, there's a couple of Du Bois classes. I wrote, I think, 25 or 30 pages comparing Booker T. Washington and Du Bois's beef at the time to the Jay-Z Nas rap battle that was going on around that time, which endeared me even more to that guy. He was like, that's really smart. I was like, you know, it's not that smart, but it was a damn good paper, though. I'm very proud of that paper. But anyway, but also, you know, some of the top, like, Latina and Latino like radical thinkers were in that department. So taking very detailed classes and stuff like that, Native American film, you know, critical studies of Native American film and stuff like that. So did all of that and came out of there with a second undergrad degree. Now, real quick, I want to say about the ethnic studies department. If, you know, I'm sure all you guys know this, but the history of those kind of departments are that, you know, kind of coming out of post-civil rights into Black Power in the late 60s, students on campus were taking that kind of radicalism of the Black Power movement and demanding changes on campuses, right? So you don't see your first like Black Studies departments or programs. Actually, where I work now, the Margaret Walker Center at Jackson State, was founded in 1968, and we were the second such Black Studies department in the entire country. So San Francisco State was the first. And in fact, Margaret Walker in 1973 had hosted at Jackson State the National Evaluative Conference on Black Studies and had everybody here within 5 years of that happening. So in Colorado, it's kind of the same thing. In the late 60s and early 70s, they got a Black Studies program and a Mexican Studies program, was what they were calling it at the time. And more radicalism in people, and there ended up being some radical, they were Chicano groups, what they're calling them at the time. These radical groups demanding these changes, and there ended up being several bombings for like 10 people. And I know initially 6 people were killed, and I think a total of 10, where it gets blamed on these radical groups for these bombings during all this unrest on campus. However, we know now that COINTELPRO was very pervasive in Colorado at that time because of the radical like movements that were going on campus. And the bombings have never been solved, quote unquote, just like the Gibbs Green shootings have never been solved, but everybody like knows what happens, right? And what's called the Boulder Six, who died in, it was 1974, I think. Most of them were like Latino activists and lawyers and shit, you know what I'm saying? But they get blamed for the bombing or whatever. So there's a huge tumultuous history in getting that to happen. So finally by the early 90s, they start the process, and in 1995, they combine the Mexican Studies program and the Black Studies program into the Ethnic Studies program, which eventually brings in Asian American Studies, gender studies, sexuality studies, and stuff like that. So just a little history behind how I got there. So when I got there in 2006, they had only been a department for 11 years at that point, because they were officially chartered in 95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell do you keep up with all of this information?
He's a fucking historian.
Well, I am a historian, so I should know a lot more, but as we know, I have an all-out assault on my brain cells. So I can hold it, you know. But again, like, you know, I've spent now in my career, which started in 2011 when I graduated from Jackson State. I've been doing this for 12 years now, and even though I'm out of the classroom as of last January, a big part of my job is lecturing on civil rights to groups that come through COFO and stuff like that. So this, and, you know, and again, people, you know, they're like, well, how'd you get into doing like Black Studies and that kind of shit? And I was like, well, this is what I read and knew when I was growing up. Like a lot of us, as a 10-year-old getting to Public Enemy in like 1988, it led me to more hip hop, of course. It led me to jazz, and it led me to reading the books like Autobiography of Malcolm X and all that kind of stuff, you know. And I was, you know, I grew up in South Jackson, so I'm not going to say I was like a suburban white hip hop fan, because, you know, South Jackson is different than the suburbs, but I took it a different direction than every white kid that gets into it, you know. Of course, it was rebellious and pissed my parents off some and stuff, but I just took it that direction. And when I met Dr. Rabaka, I was like, shit, all this stuff I enjoy is something I can actually like get a degree in and eventually get a job doing. And I know all three of us have talked together and apart about, you know, how seriously I take the work and my understanding of my place within it. You know, I don't have any ownership or possession of it, but I am good at it, and I can use my privilege and experience to help other people and get the word out or whatever, you know. So I love it so much. I think that's what does stay in my brain, is just out of just sheer loving it and loving the information and stuff. Yeah.
Did I tell you about the time I met him at Ross in Atlanta?
No.
I know, right? No.
Like at Ross Dress for Less?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
That kind of sound like a place M1 would be.
I'm just saying, I'm just in line, like, getting my little polo.
Was it in a curve bundle?
No, he was actually
With the lotion and the body spray.
I think he was getting
Oh my God.
some home stuff. Like, there was some pillows or something, and then there was a young lady who was behind him that was on Love and Hip Hop. So it was like,
Oh.
This is Atlanta. So I'm like, damn, this is wild.
Well, and the flip side of that, like,
they weren't together. Just be clear, they're not together.
In Boulder, people would get excited when they'd see like some dude that was in a mid-level like bluegrass band or something. So again, Atlanta and Boulder, same different side of the same coin,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The same thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about how much that I still learn every day, and then the more I learn about the history, I get conflicted about some of the things where it's like, man, it's even some of the people that I'm celebrating. I don't know if I should be celebrating them.
Yeah.
You go down that rabbit hole because I didn't know. Like, as I learned more about Ron Karenga, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the guy that founded Kwanzaa, the inventor of Kwanzaa. And then it's like you hear about the US organization's role in basically being used to be the not to infiltrate the Black Panther Party, but to kind of be the rival to kind of split black people, and then in their role in Bunchy Carter's death and stuff like that. I'm like, and this is the same dude. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, they were getting, guns and money and everything else from the LAPD to basically be the anti-Panthers. And I was like, what? And this is the guy that founded Kwanzaa.
Yeah. Well, to that point, like at work, we're a Black Studies Institute museum, and we also have the COFO Center, which is a civil rights education center and tour stop for people on those kind of tours. But we're an archive as well, and one of the collections that I'm working on in my current project is from a former Black Panther who was a professor at JSU in the English department for a while. And a lot of her collection is correspondence between her and her husband, who was in jail for some killings of police officers. You wouldn't hear his name because he's not like one of the political prisoner names, because it's very well accepted that they did that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was like they were we did this shit. You know what I'm saying? But I just brought up correspondence between prisoners in different prisons, or people that were outside of prison or whatever, straight up talking about like that US organization shit, like out in and out of prison, what I'm saying, at that time. And they're trying to start the Black Liberation Army around that time, because the Panthers are fracturing because of what's going on with US organization stuff. But again, like, love reading all the books about that, but being able to like hold those documents in your hand and stuff. And I just met a woman at the conference last week, the Oral History Association conference. Is not as exciting as it sounds, trust me. But this,
I get what you were saying.
We had a good time. Well, I was going to say this.
Girls.
There's this panel, and this woman was presenting her work. She's writing a book currently about Assata Shakur. So she mentions, talks about that, and she mentions somebody you might have heard of from the movement, Ashanti Alston, that name, a little bit more obscure, but in that like Black Power or Black Panther, Black Liberation Army thing. Mention him and mention Black Liberation Army, and like the kind of the subtext of the book is underground Black radical organizations. And so after her presentation, I went up there. This is a Black woman, and I was like, do you have a second? Can I talk to you real quick? And she's like, yeah, what's up? I had a Jackson State hat on. She goes, oh, you're Jackson State. And I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I'm Grambling. And she's like, that's cool. I have swag family here, right? So I'm like, all right, look, I want to tell you this. You mentioned Assata, Ashanti, Black Liberation Army. I have 2 handwritten letters from Assata right before she was freed or liberated from prison. Handwritten letters to the woman's husband who was in jail back to him. Like, I have several handwritten letters from Ashanti Alston to Noah, the man's name who was in prison. I also have 2 more boxes, and I've digitized all this. So I actually emailed it all to her today. And I was like, I also have, I hate to say we in our collection, we have folders full of like actual like minutes from meetings about organizing BLA, financial statements, all this kind of stuff. And there's another folder, it's a couple inches thick, where the person whose collection it is, day by day ran off copies of newspaper articles up there, because I think they ended up they had to end up moving Asada's trial to New Jersey, Trenton. Is it Trenton? Is that right? Somewhere up there. Anyway, so every day through that whole trial, I have newspaper articles on it. She's like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. This is stuff we have, and we love to make it public. And the only person I know that's been through it before is actually Kevin Powell, the author and speaker. There's Post-it notes on there where he had written what he wanted to get copies of and stuff. But it's part of what I know it's dope. Yeah, and so I've been telling people, and this is part of the Smithsonian project that we're working on to digitize all of our collections through the National Museum of African American History and Culture. You guys have all heard about this ad nauseum, but it's digitized and it's going to be made public soon. But I was like, I will send it all to you first. It's like, in my opinion, in the correspondence alone, there's 3, 4, or 5 books that can be written just out of the correspondence, because like other prisoners are writing back and forth, literally like point by point outlines of what the tenets of Black Liberation Army should be and what has gone wrong in their opinion with Black nationalist movements up until like the mid 70s and stuff. It's so cool. But she was like, I was like, no, I'm just like, I'll create I got metadata sheets. I'll make your own copies. They're searchable. You can find exactly what you need. I'm going to send you everything. You can dig through it. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, you never know who's going to be sitting in your panel, you know? So that was awesome. So I was just, shit like that just makes me so happy, you know? So, made a really good connection, and we need more books about, Asada. Asada's been written about a decent amount, but I like the idea of, those more obscure underground Black radical, Black nationalist movements especially from like, I'd say 1971 on. So hopefully she'll start that, or she'll write a cool book about that, and that'll inspire more stuff. And we have more stuff, more primary sources to base that work off of, so kind of taking a tangent here, but these are the things that make me excited. Yeah.
Even in Asada's book, it's like she scratches the surface about the dynamics between men and women within the movement, and just how like we're getting the same kind of treatment, from within the ranks as
I was going to say, you were talking earlier, when you're talking about Karinga and like, kind of the problematic look back at that history or whatever. Yeah. That's one, and there's been more books written about this, I'd say since like the mid 2000s, early 2010s, about misogyny in both the civil rights movement and especially the Black Power movement, right? Because in the civil rights movement, since it was more Southern and more conservative, a lot of the women were just like, all right, we're in the office, we're answering phone calls from the field, we're doing clerical work. But then 1964, Freedom Summer, all those white people came down, and then white women were given preferential treatment over the Black women in the movement, even by the Black leaders. And then in the Black Power, Black nationalist movement, that was all based on, like macho type shit, and like male presentation and stuff. So that's why Asada was so important, Angela Davis so important, and stuff like that, who were, even within those, we look back in those movements, we think, oh, it was just Black nationalism and Black Power, but they were self-critiquing within their own movements as they were going, which is really interesting. And that's where the I think most exciting scholarship is still yet to come out. I mean, people have written about it, of course, but I mean, when I was a kid, as a teenager, I just fucking loved like Eldridge Cleaver and shit. Then you like get to know what that was all about, and you're like, Jesus Christ, man! And you should have known. Like, I was 15. You think I don't know better? Like, oh, this is cool. Like, fucking kill all the white people, But it's like, but I get older, I'm like, oh shit, dude. Like, this is, So anyway, yeah.
So you have this magnificent educational resurgence in Colorado after you have, had a bunch of fun.
Dead state.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of fun.
We had a lot of fun in Colorado, I will definitely say that. Yeah.
A bunch of fun.
Yeah.
So then you get, you come back home in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So did you immediately start working for Jackson State when you moved back home? Or was that why you moved home?
Yeah, so 2009, we are ready to leave Boulder. Like I said, Boulder's awesome, but it's very far away from home in more ways than just a physical way. Yeah. One thing I didn't mention, and I'll try to come back a couple of these things I missed. Boulder is a super, super white city, and University of Colorado, at the time when we were there, and I'm sure this is still the same, because I think the last I read, they only have like 640 something black students on campus. CU, which I don't know how the fuck you get away with that in the 21st century. Yeah. Well, and then when we were there, CU Boulder was the second whitest campus on major college campus in America behind BYU. So we were just right behind the Mormon school, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to your point about, the black students on campus, I knew the vast majority of the black students on campus because if they weren't, I mean, I kind of do that anyway, but if, they were, students who weren't athletes tended to be in that ethnic studies program, and a lot of athletes were in that program as well because they were like, I don't want to major in business. And CU has like 6 or 7 Nobel laureates that have worked there in the physics department. It's so incredible, but it's not much to offer a kid from humble beginnings that's coming to play wide receiver at a PWI. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I say it was far away from home, it was for us who are used to not spending all of our time around white people, it was very far from home. You know what I'm saying? Now, we had a great little community that, like anywhere we go, it accepted us in, you know what I'm saying? Which I'm always thankful for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and, that was cool. But it was like, all right, let's get ready to make another move, because we're, at that point, I'm only 31, Catherine's only 26 or 27, so we're still youngish. So I applied and got into San Francisco State, which I was saying earlier was the original Black Studies program. So I got in the master's program there, but think about the year 2009, the housing crisis and the economic bubble and everything. So they were like, you are accepted, we love to have you here, we have absolutely no money to give any students coming into this next class. And so we're talking about moving to San Francisco, which was, again, right before, and we wanted to live in Oakland anyway, because San Francisco was already a little expensive and Oakland just seemed more our vibe, what I'm saying? We couldn't afford to do that shit, right? So it was like, well, let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone and go back home. And we'll just we can both do our masters at Jackson State. And Jackson State's the home school for us, because we had been here most of our lives. We've left and come back a couple times. But so I was like, I need to do something that is in line with the work I'm doing, but also I need to be able to get a job when I'm done, right? There's not much place in the world for dudes with their undergrad degree in very super philosophical, critical race theory work and gender theory, so it's like, but that is, it's parallel with history, right? And so, so I got in the history department. Catherine did the urban and regional planning department. So I graduated. So that would have been May of 2011. She finished in December 2011. She had more like practicums and internships she had to do or whatever. So I finished there. So I did 1 semester, my first semester just as a student. My last 3 semesters, I was a grad assistant at the Margaret Walker Center. So there I actually did the exact same work I'm doing now, which is digitization. We had tons of money or grant money from the Ford Foundation and the NEH to digitize Margaret Walker's collection. Margaret Walker's collection, her archival collection, I think it's the second biggest archival collection of a black female writer in the entire world. And during my time there, we digitized over 35,000 pages of her collection, which is still on our website and available for free to the public and researchers and stuff. All of her journals, and that was, scanning them, pulling the metadata, uploading them all. But also, letters from her time in the Chicago Writers Project, so correspondence between her and like Langston and Richard Wright and stuff like that. Couldn't pull. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about pulling out a letter that Langston Hughes wrote her in his handwriting, and scanning it so the rest of the world can see it. It's just so dope. I did that work there, and I loved my time at Jackson State. You were saying earlier, we'll keep it PC, and the thing I love about Jackson State is you'll never hear me say anything negative, like overly negative around people who aren't in my circle, like you guys, what I'm saying, is like, we can talk about it, but, I learned so many lessons about the bureaucracy of Jackson State. And when I was graduating to get, to finish out my master's, I had to walk to like 6 different buildings on campus to get signatures and shit. And I know this was, 12 years ago. This was 2011, but still like waiting for like someone who should have retired 15 years ago to sign a piece of paper saying that I'm a master in history or whatever, So, and I will say, gotten a little better since I was gone for the past 11 years, but again, that's stuff that we can all talk about, but I won't, say anything negative about it. But it's interesting. It's just, people don't, I'd say most people don't understand HBCU work life and culture, because most people don't go to HBCUs, right? Yeah. They're less attended and stuff. Yeah. So again, JSU, I'm hoping as long as we live in Jackson that I will end my career out there. But I wouldn't mind making one more move one day. We'll see how, what happens there. But my wife's a genius and can go anywhere she wants to go. So I'm just going to follow her around, Yeah. So
smart play.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you guys know. But yeah, I finished there in 2011 and luckily immediately got a job teaching at Hines Community College on the Sunset campus, which is a small satellite, all-black satellite of Hines, and so taught there until I left at the end of 2021 and started back at JSU in January of 2022. Yeah, so I've been back almost 2 years now. Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So let's segue. Talk football.
Okay.
American football. So you get the privilege of, we all live here, so we got to experience what we experienced at JSU over the past 3 years, which was the energy was electric in Jackson.
Yeah,
you can say that.
Can we say the prime effect? I know he paying for getting it trademarked.
Nope. I ain't saying it. But, and then said person who y'all were just talking about, Three Toes, goes to your
other alma mater.
Right.
What is Saturday like for you? Like,
well,
how do you feel about it?
Well, when it first happened, I knew after that 3rd year that he was probably going to leave, and it's a smart thing to do. I hate that we all know he's full of shit. He's been full of shit since he was a professional, since he was at Florida State. We've known this, and then he comes up here and, we kind of buy the snake oil a little bit. He's talking all that good black shit and like students don't need to go to these schools and do that. And I agree with that. But the reality of this situation is, when you were starting a career, when you were just a high school coach 3 years prior, you take what comes up, right? I honestly thought he was going to go to like South Florida or something, right? I didn't think a big school like CU would even offer him, and that just came out of the blue. So when it happened, I literally was just like, well, fuck, because I love CU and I, love my time there. I love Boulder, but I was like, I have to be upset about this. Like, I'm a Tiger first and foremost, and so I was like, I have to be upset about this. And I was like, and I thought back on it. There's only 2 places I did not want him to go. One was CU, and the other one was Ole Miss. Just because I don't want, fuck the Confederacy, right? It's like, fuck all that shit. So, but he went to CU, and so, I was like, I'm mad about it. It's like, I get it. Like, he's trying to get his assistants paid. He's trying to get Shedeur more noticeability because could be in the NFL next year. You know what I'm saying? But also at the same time, I think it was a little premature for him. So all that being said, when we were there, you guys know I'm not the biggest like football fan, so I don't I like watching Jackson State games and, hanging out with my friends and doing that, but never went to one CU sporting event when we were there. When we were there, we had one night where we were going to go, Texas was in town. This was Durant's first year, or he only did 1 year at Texas, right? So it was his year at Texas. This would have been 06 or 07. Got tickets and everything, and then had like a 4-foot blizzard. We were like, fuck this, it was like as much as we want, because we love that, we're big basketball people. So we did not go to that night. So we didn't go to any, we went to a few CU women's soccer games, but we didn't go to anything. So I've never been one to watch CU games, right? Now, all that being said, this season I have been watching them because I love Travis Hunter. I think he's a special kid. He got torched that last game.
The last couple of games.
Yeah. He's so good, but they're figuring out you can put a 6'2" receiver on him and throw it on top of him all night, But I really, I like those kids, and I understand, people. I mean, these are young men in their teens and 20s, right? And they're calling these young men traitors and shit like that. I'm like, no, man, they're loyal to Coach Prime. Travis Hunter wasn't coming here until Dion came here. Travis Hunter he's been mentored by Dion since he's a kid and was going to Florida State because that's what Dion told him would be the best for him because that's where Dion went. And then he flips to us, and I was like, I don't see it as them picking up and running away from us. I see it as it was awesome to have them here for 3 years. Because JSU football games are fun. I've kind of aged out of going to them. I'm too old for that shit. It's such a pain in the ass to get to the games and get in and stuff. But still, I mean, that was awesome football for those 3 years. It was, it was perfect college football. It was brilliant. It was sloppy. It made you upset. It blew your mind. And we only lost a couple games. Couldn't get that Celebration Bowl victory. And I apologize for the white dude that dropped the pass in the last Celebration Bowl.
on behalf.
Yeah, it's literally me and Catherine and a bunch of black folks at Offbeat watching it. That ball falls out of his hands, and I just sink into the couch. I'm like, make yourself invisible. And it's like, oh shit, I got to go to work on Monday too. So. But it was funny. I was making just funny social media posts, and they're like, it's not your fault. You heard everybody was saying. I was like, oh, that's really nice, everyone. I appreciate that. I know I sure as shit wouldn't have caught that.
And you got to go. We got game day.
A
lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, it was this weekend last year, actually, when game day came, because it was that pre-Halloween weekend. And, of course, we went down for game day. We'll still go down to the tailgate and stuff sometimes, but definitely went down to game day. And did you guys go to game day last year? All right, so
I remember y'all had gone.
Yeah,
I've been to y'all at. I think we mentioned that because that was Southern.
Yeah,
Southern? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, y'all came to Offbeat.
Yeah, we all met up there. Yeah. So that's the second one I've been to. They start at 8 our time, and we got down there around 9 or 10. So we just started drinking. I got a backpack full of beers, just walking around, seeing people, talking to people. But then we had a Halloween party, and we had 2 Halloween parties that night. So at each one of the parties I got to, a couple people were like, Garrad, how's it going? It's like, I'm having a really good time today. And they're like, we know you're having a really good. So by Halloween around 10 o'clock that night, people were like, dude, you were being so funny. I was like, I don't even fucking remember being there. But you had to get up and start drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning because game day was. But, you can never take that away, And the games this year have been fun. I mean, that homecoming game was just a debacle.
Oh, my God.
So depressing.
We were in Dallas when we were watching it. It was the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, but they came back, big win this past weekend.
Yeah, that was cool. But that homecoming game, we watched it. We watched most of it at Offbeat, and Catherine and I go to Santa Fe Grill to grab some food real quick before we go do something else. There's these 2 older black dudes sitting at the bar, and we walk in and they're like, oh, you guys are Jackson State people, because we're both wearing Jackson State shirts or whatever. And we're like, yeah. And they were like, how was the game? I was like, oh man, it sucked. It got down to the 4th, and there was this weird fumble call, but we still had it, and we had a couple last second shots at the end zone. He goes, well, what happened? I was like, we just couldn't get it in there. And he goes, so they lost? And I was like, yeah, man, we lost. He goes, good. I was like, oh shit, I thought I was talking to a JSU dude, but they're Valley fans or some shit. I'm like, oh, god damn it. But it was just funny, again, no questions asked. They were like, these are JSU people, and we're going to give them shit for losing the game after. And they played me well because they made me talk about the game for 3 minutes before they told me but they were really nice. They were hammered. They had been drinking all day. Yeah. But, I just love that, for, the worlds that the different social circles we're in. For a lot of our friends, I'm the only connection that they have to Jackson State because they don't know, you know how segregated the world is, and even how if you're cool or whatever, most people don't hang out with members of the opposite race that often, and so like I am the JSU connection for a lot of white people,
Connection, period.
Well, yeah, I'm
a lot of
kind of the bridge between those two worlds.
You really are, bro. Like,
but it's also, one of the things that I've really, again, I talked about communities accepting us and stuff like that. We'll be wearing JSU stuff and we'll talk to people about Jackson State. I try to be a good ambassador of the university, but even no one has ever. No black person has ever been like, why are you wearing that shirt? What do you know about that? It's just immediately like, oh yeah, you look like you understand what's going on. So I really enjoy that, and I just love to get to be part of it because you guys remember on the group text, I think it was around this time last year, maybe the year before, we were at some event at the brewery.
I don't remember because I'm not a part of it.
Oh, you're not? Yeah. All right, well, so I'll recount it.
No,
you have to take this with your brother.
It's okay.
You don't
no,
want to
it's fine.
You don't want to be in the group chat with your brother.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Aw.
I don't care.
You don't want to be in the group chat?
Start my own.
Come on, man.
No, because y'all know.
You can start a group
It's
chat.
been around for years.
You can start a group chat with the guy that fries your broccoli for you.
Man. That's a good idea, actually.
I don't care what you guys think. I got fried broccoli main on my group chat.
Steve's gonna be pissed. Steve's gonna get in that group chat day one. He's like, all right, fuck this. Y'all talk too much.
That shit, if anyone ever wants to bring any of us down, you just intercept one of our phones and publish all of this shit. It's out of control.
Join a monastery.
Yeah, I feel bad. It's even some of the stuff I say, and I don't. Yeah.
Every Thursday.
Yeah.
Every Thursday.
But what I was to say is, I was at and I noticed this, and again because of Dion, we were at some party at the brewery. There's hundreds of people there. And it was game day, and there was this is so petty, but there's 5 or 6 other white dudes wearing JSU shirts. And I'm like, that's my thing, guys. It's I know you don't care, and I haven't seen it since, It's I haven't seen
it. Be like me.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, and it was Saturday, so I was drunk, so I text you guys. I'm just like, man, fuck this. It's I had one thing. Actually, I have a bunch, but I was like, this is the one, So yeah, I was just the fair weather Dion effect or whatever. But hey, they bought T-shirts, whatever. That's cool. But all kind of to bring all that full circle. One of the things that I know was a point of contention when he was leaving was everybody talked about, well, he did so much for Jackson State and so much for the SWAC and stuff like that. And again, that's a complex point because, for the outside looking in, you're like, oh, wow, he put Jackson State on the map or whatever and stuff. And then, but also, no new resources, nothing came out of that, from that standpoint. But I will say, just anecdotally, sitting at the bar at the Baltimore airport on Saturday when I was coming back from that conference. And you know me at a bar, I just chat everybody up, so it was a little boomer corner in the bar, me and these old white people. And, I'm I'm wearing a Jackson State hat because it's game day and, mentioning, talking about that. And they all did know who Jackson State was, which they didn't before, right? Because these are very fair weather fans of whatever team they like Ohio State or Michigan or whatever. So I found that, I always find that interesting. And they always say, well, he did so much for JSU and for the SWAC and for HBCUs. And I don't push back on that because ultimately he didn't, other than they know who Jackson State is, right? But there's no tangible outcome of it at all, and nothing you can put your hands on. But again, it's a very complex, it's more complex than just saying he didn't do shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's one of those, two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, he didn't do shit. We can't say he didn't do shit, but he didn't do shit.
There's nothing tangible there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, from an admission standpoint, there is.
How much is it?
So I'm saying because at the time, I was still working for a company that helped kids get into college and find money to pay for it, and had a lot more students during that time frame that were like, no, I absolutely want to go to an HBCU.
People don't understand that effect everywhere too. It was people want to go to Alabama or wherever because the sports. Yeah, I didn't even. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I wonder if has there been a significant fall off after he left? No, and
I don't think so.
yeah, I forget. I don't look at the numbers. One of the grad students that works with me, she is a residence hall. I think she's an RA maybe or something in one of the residence halls. I know housing is scarce on that campus.
Yeah.
It has. I mean, that's kind of been a problem for a minute, but it seems to be even worse past few years. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
And you would, because I would hear that sentiment like a lot before then, where a kid may say, and the thing is, I never let parents sit in on the first meeting anyway, but they're be like, yeah, but I told him going to an HBCU, that would really kind of limit him, but, because he really needs to go to a school where they're going to have, I'm like, because the real world is not going to be just black. I was like, man, you sound really, really stupid, right?
Yeah.
And it's like your kid is
shit.
actually interested in going to a historic black college, and you're like trying to discourage them from doing it.
Yep.
You're black, like you realize how dumb you sound right now. But they really, I don't know, so they don't see it. But during that time, it was just brought up in conversations a lot more. Okay, so let's really talk about this and not just accept the way of thought that has been passed down for a few generations. Let's actually examine the opportunities for financial aid, where the majority of HBCUs are significantly cheaper.
Yeah. That's I'm so happy you said that, because that's a perspective I haven't thought about, from that side of things. That's why I love having so many cool friends who do cool things like that. But you're right. I mean, if there's an ultimate net positive of black students wanting to come to an HBCU, then there's definitely something you can that's quantitative at that point, right? So, and qualitative really. But yeah, that's awesome. I hadn't thought about that. But it's amazing the hold that American football has on the American psyche, where it's just like, a couple good football seasons, and yeah, I think you should go to an HBCU. That'd be cool, you know. All of a sudden, that's what changes it, But yeah, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, bro. That's stupid. Folk really be going to Alabama because they got a good football team. Mm-hmm. You don't even play football.
Yeah.
Man, so you know what I used to tell them students?
you don't do nothing.
In Jackson and in Mississippi in general, you have a lot of people, close football teams with Saints, right? And so there's a bunch of folks who are Saints fans, and I was like, okay, so are you like a real Saints fan? Oh yeah, I'm a real Saints fan. I'm like, diehard Saints fan. Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, do you live in New Orleans? No, you don't. Okay, so what you're telling me is you can be a fan of whoever and not have to go to that school. Mm-hmm. Don't go to Mississippi State just because you like Mississippi State's football team. That may not be the school for you.
You don't even like Mississippi State's football team. You don't know.
Right.
You were just really 12 years old when Dak Prescott was kind of good.
Bro, come on. You know what I'm saying? You don't even watch football.
Right.
Yeah.
I ask a lot of people that I work with, a lot of them graduated from state or Oaks. I'm like, why'd you go there? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what'd you learn? I got a degree.
Yeah.
But what'd you learn, though? That's tangible. I got a degree. I'm like, okay, now you in debt. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Now you got to move to Atlanta and figure out who you are.
That's right.
Yeah, that's just wasting money at that point.
Right. Then you got to bring your ass back home because you fucked off in Atlanta. And got swooped up in the nightlife and shit, I ain't got no money. So you thought you was balling because you was living out there. Fucking Norcross, that's 75 hours from the city.
Yeah, that's not Atlanta.
Selling knives.
Hey, man, real talk. I had an interview for what's the name of the company?
Did you for the knife?
The knife company. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, man.
What is that an interview for? You just going knocking on the damn door, trying to sell some
knives? Name of that company? Because the dude interviewed me. He was like, Kanye West used to work for this company when he was younger. I was like, oh,
bro,
this is gonna make me sell knives right here. Craziest motherfucker in the world. Oh, okay.
Kanye used to sell knives. That's awesome.
That's a selling point. That's some bullshit. Y'all give it up for Garrad. Thank you, Garrad.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Hanging with, we love you. So
It's the third time I've been on now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are.
You have been
staple
on.
here.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
This is like the second or third time. But you've been on.
I did that.
No. You did that little short. You did that live.
We did that. We did the one with Melvin and
Yeah.
came right over here afterwards because this is right when you acquired the Boobs and Ass Center.
So
and
you have officially been on more than you've been on more than any other guest.
That is wild.
That means that you have to be on once every season.
Oh, I appreciate that. I love being on here. I will say, and congratulations on what, 2 years now?
Yes, sir.
You said you weren't where you wanted to be. Look, you got to at least have that State Farm money after 2 years. Like, you got to get those ads, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you guys don't have any, like, of those foods, like, where they send you food in the mail. Like, you should be there at least, you know what I'm saying?
What they call the fresh meals.
Yeah, like Fresh to Go, HelloFresh, like,
Fresh meal.
because I tell you what, man, you listen to podcasts that have any white listeners, it's all that food shit, you know what I'm saying? And
brought to you
Oh,
by-
hey,
Blue
man,
chew.
man, I got home the other night, didn't feel like cooking.
Damn, Garrett. Tell us how you really feel about it, my boy.
You know what? Fuck this podcast. I don't want to do it no more. Run your bitch by yourself. I don't care.
I'm sorry, guys. You know I love you.
Yeah, so this is episode 43. We have one more episode left in this season. Y'all please check us out on all streaming platforms. Also, you can check us out on Black with No Chaser Radio each and every Sunday. You can catch up on all the episodes. They're airing on Sundays on Black with No Chaser Radio. Make sure y'all follow them on Instagram, and they also have a Facebook page as well. So we appreciate them. Thank you to everybody who got them some merch. Looks really good on you guys. Please make sure you take your photos and tag us in them so we can share.
The Lees love our crew necks. I will give a little plug for that.
Thank
for
you
sure.
so much.
Yeah.
I fucks with the lead. We're trying to get them to run for office. Probably not gonna happen. But if it does, we all moving downtown.
Catherine is too honest and I'm too corrupt. Yeah.
But yeah, man, y'all make sure y'all tap in with us. Follow us on our social media. We got a whole bunch of events going up, coming up in the month of November. Hey, we host at the Zoo. Okay. Yep.
What's the date?
The 11th.
November 11th.
Whoa. During the day, right?
Yes.
It's birthday
Praise the Lord,
weekend.
everybody.
Oh, turn up.
Yeah. At the zoo.
Yeah.
I love events at the zoo.
Yeah, come on, drink.
I used to love getting drunk at the zoo.
One of the so it's that big open field where they used to have concerts and stuff.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Y'all,
All right. What's the event?
Zoo chiller.
Yeah, y'all come on out. Come
God, I
drink
love
with us.
Jackson. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, come drink with us and
Yeah.
look at the chupacabras.
And we'll be able to bring your children. It is family friendly. Bring your children. It's family friendly. All right.
That's awesome.
Mark, what you got coming up?
Just follow me on social media, man. October events are over for me at this particular point, so I get a much needed break this weekend, and yeah, it's full steam ahead. Now you told me about this, I forgot about that, but yeah, November's full. Just follow me at Merk B. Williams. If you're listening to this, whenever you listen to it, if I'm ever in the city, you can always catch me weekly at the workout room on Tuesday. And so that's been really good, and we got a bunch of Vibe Keeper stuff coming up with the Crush and Dayscape and so many other things. So 2024 looking good too, man. So
Hell yeah.
I'm excited.
You guys host everything. I feel like I'm gonna go to Kroger on some Saturday and you're just like hosting the produce section or some
Man.
shit. And I was like,
Well,
yeah, I know those
here's
guys.
the thing. So they fucked
That's
it up,
not a
bro.
bad idea.
Oh man.
When
I'm so lost.
when they I don't know what shit is in Kroger anymore, but like when they took, Kroger changed when they took out the James Meredith spot.
Yeah.
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 That hummus section, they fucked it all up. I can't find veggie burgers and
Bro, I don't
tempeh
know.
and
I
shit
don't know
right
shit
now.
like that.
Yeah.
I'll just be
But some of it, they just moved it across the aisle from where it used to be. So you're just to fuck with you. You know, it's like,
ask if Catherine can do some city planning for the Kroger layout.
well,
Because
in this
I wanted to go get some tea, and here I am looking at black olives. I don't want that shit. I
Yeah.
want some tea.
But, you
Boy,
know,
go on, holler. You want
yeah,
tea?
make some noise. The Vikings just scored.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to see the play.
But you know, stores switch it up every few years to make you see other stuff that you don't normally see or whatever. And Kroger, but it's been a while since Kroger did it, so it's just so jarring. I mean, it's been at least 3, 4, 5 years since they did a big switch.
That long since they moved stuff around.
But this one, I don't know, it just took forever, and I hate it. But then, like, a couple months later, I'm like, oh yeah, this is where this stuff is, and it never makes any sense. But yeah, they just want you to, the average person buys the same, like, 15 things every time in the grocery store, and they just want you to see other shit. Oh, and you miss the, yeah. All right.
I'm sorry. Ain't typical. Y'all excuse me. The Minnesota Vikings are playing. Lord, please let them win. Please. All right. Look, Fifth Child, what we got coming up?
We got a whole lot. We got Tubi Tuesday tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
It's, man, the first time we had, we watched No Disrespect.
So what's this one?
Wonderful. Jessica's picking it.
She
So I don't know.
You don't know yet.
I don't know. She's gonna surprise us tomorrow. I don't know. But
I would be honored to pick a movie one Tuesday.
But yes,
as an avid Tubi watcher, because I watch.
I've seen some really entertaining stuff on there too, like good.
Oh no, let me tell you, the movies are they gloriously abysmal. That's what they are. But you can't stop watching them.
Yeah.
You should turn your subtitles
They're all
on
thrillers.
too.
They're all thrillers.
Do you turn the subtitles on when you do?
Of course, I watch them.
Hey man, look, I didn't even know subtitles spelled out shit and bitch and motherfucker so much because all they do is cuss. I'm just like, this is amazing.
Yeah, man. If the lead actor is also the director and writer and did the screenplay,
oh, it's gonna be terrible.
and is the key grip,
Oh,
then
yeah.
it's gonna be busting.
Either that or it's porn. Yeah.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's some Anyway,
It is
Tubi Tuesday.
It is time to go.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, but I got so Tubi Tuesday, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then the weekends, Unbig My Back Walking Club.
That is so good. That is so fucking good.
and then my mom is hosting the very first hand quilting workshop.
That's cool.
Yeah.
This weekend, so really excited about that. My performance with the Mississippi Symphony Orchestra at Cade Chapel is on Sunday,
Yeah.
the 29th. Then
Yo
I'm performing with Sip Culture, the ILI Leadership Group, whatever. So that's going to be on the 30th. Trunk or Treat at BAC on the 31st. ACT Prep Club on November 2nd. And then, of course, Zoochilla on November 11th.
That's what's up. And all candy's half off on November 1st at Target and all your local family.
Yeah. And Kroger, if you can find it.
That part. That's the real holiday. And as always, before we leave, we like to leave you with a little nugget, a little something, carry on through the day, through the week, or the hour, whenever you're listening. And it's customary, we like our guests to leave the folks with a little something inspirational to carry them on for whenever they listen. So, Garrett, take us on out.
So just something inspirational.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I was the last time I was here, I was drunk and just totally made a mockery of this. I remember. Did I say like, don't follow your dreams? They're all bullshit. Like, no, because Mike had said something really nice about it. And I was like, no, fuck that, man. Like therapy doesn't work. Like none of this is real. I remember doing that. So no, I will say. Carry me in the next couple weeks from November 1st through 4th. We're doing the Phyllis Wheatley Poetry Festival, the 50th reconvening. Hosting it through the Margaret Walker Center. We have over 700 people registered, and it's going to be one of the, if not the biggest convening of black women writers in the entire world.
Wow.
And recently, if not for a while. So of the original participants, there were 16, Audre Lorde, Sonia Sanchez, Alice Walker, all those folks. 6 or 7 of them are returning, and we're putting all of those big talks are going to be conversations between newer writers like Jesmyn Ward and Nicole Hannah-Jones and Imani Perry with those writers who were there originally. And one of our points of pride for this whole thing is the only people speaking on stage at any of the major events, other than like the concurrent sessions or whatever, is going to be nothing but women of color. So there's going to be nobody other than black women except for one Native woman that's going to be speaking. So I've been working hard on this behind the scenes, and you won't see me out front of any of this, and we're very proud of that. So that's November 1st through 4th. Registration's closed, but that just know if you're listening to this in Jackson, like that's some real shit that's going down in our city, and I think yeah, so we had to move, once the numbers got up over like 400, we had to move the big luncheons to the convention center. But on Thursday night, the Nicole Hannah-Jones talk is going to be on campus on the plaza, set up out there, and then the reception will be kind of outside Johnson Hall in the library. And then Friday night, the chairs of NEA and NEH are speaking, then the reception will be in the ballroom right after that at JSU. So our night events are going to be on campus. DJ Young Venom is DJing the Friday reception to close us on out or whatever. So yeah, so that's just, I'm inspired by the work that's being done with that, and just want everyone to just think about that going on in our city. If you see that kind of thing going on, I just think it's really cool. So
thank you,
Garrad.
Yeah, you are a national treasure, and you should be protected at all costs. We love you, brother.
We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Gare the Bear.
Gare Bear, yeah.
Nope, I'm leaving it alone.
You would not imagine how many people call me Gare Bear on a regular basis. Yeah.
Hey man, you got to get hats or T-shirts or something with the bear on it.
He has a bear, right?
Catherine got a life-size cutout.
Life-size cutout.
She made me into a polo bear for my birthday a few years ago.
There's a kitchen mag sticker or something.
There's some stickers.
Yeah, I got that on the kitchen.
Yeah.
Refrigerator.
That shit is so funny.
All right, man. Look, we out. Thank y'all so much again, and we will see y'all for the last episode. Mert.
Y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay free. Y'all share that shit.
All right. You gonna imitate me?
I'm not.
You know what? You got to say it.
No, I've been.
Do it, broccoli man.
No, you got to say it. Garrett ain't got to say it. You got to say it.
You got to say it. Because you hate it so much.
That's right.
Come on.
So you got
to say it.
Say it now. Right now.
Come on. Bandana man.
Nigga.
Boy, man, that boy hit you with the heart.
Right. Come on, nigga.
Ooh,
You been saying it in different language.
I am.
Ooh, it's so
And don't
vicious.
say it in
Oh my
Hawaiian.
god.
Like,
Or
hit
Espanol.
every
Yeah,
syllable
oh my
with
God.
the accent mark.
Come
Yeah.
on, boy.
I felt the racism in them.
I said, they were saying.
Aquí afuera.
Please cut this shit out.
You just ruined your podcast.
Out here.
Wait, no, this one.
Aquí afuera.
Aquí afuera.
Bad.